Well, hello, boys and girls. It's when I feel like an o'clock, and you're watching the Pearlo Wisdom Show on my NHL Pearls of Wisdom. Coming to you live from my house. Yep, yes, sir. Go Caps is in the house. Yay! You would like Matthews to come to the Caps for Obi. I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. I don't think the Leafs are going to take you up on that little venture, though, I'm afraid. Matthews is probably looking like he's going to get Player of the Year this year, I would say, right? MVP for Matthews or McDavid. We'll see. It's going to be one of the two by the looks of it. Seems like a two-horse race already. Yeah, what a crazy, crazy weekend we had. Of course, we can't talk. We got to talk about the ice situation for the outdoor game. Colorado and the Avalanche, or Colorado Avalanche and the Golden Knights is what I mean to say. Out there in Nevada, should have been, hey, it was great. Lots of hockey on. Had that big shamoozle that happened with the outdoor ice game, but not that big of a deal, really. I didn't think of it as much of a big deal as a lot of other people did. They've had several. They've had several outdoor games. One in Texas during the day. My question for that was, why? I guess apparently the altitude combined with the sun, there was something that they didn't take into account. And you think about it, they were doing something. Oh, just wait. Did I even go live? I did. Okay. Try that again. Of course, we have to have the usual problems with. Can you guys see me? Am I stopped? Not going anywhere? Hopefully it gets going here right away. Let me check on my phone. It shows that I'm frozen. Am I frozen? No, I'm not frozen. Yeah, I'm frozen. Whatever. Just keep on going. I don't know why it's going like that. Anyways, it was a crazy weekend because of that. They never tried it before, so kudos to them for trying something that they had never tried before. Oh, I'm not frozen. Okay, good. It shows here that I'm frozen, so I thought I'd see it. Anyways, it was a crazy weekend on that front, but they never tried it before. Kudos to the NHL for going off the board and doing something that nobody's ever done before. I think that's kind of forgotten in this whole situation that the NHL had never done anything like this before. So I'm not opposed to, it happens. If you're going to go try something that's never been done before, at times things are going to happen that doesn't work out because you're learning as you go. Really, you can only know exactly, bring in all details all you want when you're going to do something that has never been done before. There's only so many details. You don't have anything you can go back on. You have everything you've done in the past, but those things only bring you a certain way because now you're going into uncharted territories. So whatever they did, whatever happened there, I forgive them for. It's just something that you're going off the board, doing something you never tried before, and it didn't quite work out. Next time they'll try it again. I'm sure they'll figure out what happened, and because it was cool. Let's face it, the first period there. I mean, I knew there was going to be a problem when they went to go line up at the center ice right off in the first period, and they were already fixing the ice. I was like, that's not good. You don't, they haven't even started skating, and they're already doing things to fix the ice. So I knew something was awry right away. But so I don't know what happened. I don't know why it was so different at that altitude with the heat and all that. It was absolutely gorgeous view. I totally agree with you. It was a gorgeous view, and it was a great idea. I really like it. Hi, Jacket. How you doing, my friend? It was a great idea, and I'm sure they'll do it again. I'd like to see them try during the day again. I don't know if they will though. But it was fantastic. Probably never try something like that again because more than likely there's going to be fans from now on. But kudos to them for going like way off the, just way off and trying something completely different. So the game itself, as far as Colorado Vegas is concerned, even in that game, Colorado just looks like they're almost unbeatable. Seriously, if Grubauer can stay healthy and he keeps on playing the way he's been playing, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say the Avs win the cup this year. I'm not sure that there's any team out there that can, even on paper, that can compete with them. Forward-wise, defense-wise, they could have you could make an argument that they have the best forward group and the best defense group in the league. McKinnon is just sick beyond sick. Unbelievable. Landeskog, Burakovsky up there, Kadri. About the only thing that they might could maybe use is, a more true second line center rather than Kadri, but Kadri's not too bad. But Cale Makar, excuse me. Let's look up Colorado here for a second. And might I remind you that they still have a significant amount of cap room. They're middle of the pack cap-wise. Right now, they have still, how much cap room do they have? Oh, it says only 587,000, really? Oh, I thought they had more cap room. Current cap space, they only have $1 million, so I guess it's not all that much. But Gerard, Taves, Graves, Timmins, like this Byram kid, man, is incredible. Like, they are so stacked. Byram right now would be in most teams' top 4 easy. They are stacked. And then Cale Makar is probably going to win the Norris this year if he can stay healthy. I'm picking them pretty much every game now. They might lose 7 games. Vegas is a strong team, and they made them look pretty not good for the 2 games that they played against each other there. So, yeah, something like that. Bernier from the wings. That probably wouldn't be a bad idea. Francouz just can't stay healthy. I guess I've been saying before, if they could swing it, that they could pick up Gibson or Kemper or something like that. That team, it would almost not be fair that would be allowed to happen. You'd almost have to make new rules because, that team would pretty much be unbeatable. Now, looking at as far as the Philadelphia Flyers-Boston game, it's what are you supposed to do when you're playing a defenseman on your wing that normally wouldn't even be in your lineup as a defenseman? So Friedman was playing on the wing for Philadelphia. Hot Takes, how you doing, buddy? Jacket, welcome. John, how you doing from Hot Takes there? You guys go check out Hot Take Hockey. He's the GOAT too. We have the GOAT John from Off the Wall, and then we have the GOAT 2. 2 being TOO, not TW0. The GOAT 2. Jack of the Caps, are you kidding? What was the question? I don't know what the question was there, but the Philly game was sad when you got a defenseman playing wing that normally wouldn't even be in your lineup as a defenseman. Yeah, things are probably not going to go good, regardless of what the ice conditions are. And I'm so mad at myself. I was busy that day. I didn't do my due diligence. Due diligence, you know that? Due diligence. Remember that. Write that down, boys and girls. I hope you all got your pens and everything out, your textbooks and all. So we can work on our thinkings. That was not going to go well. But I didn't realize they were that thin. And then I started watching the game, and I go, what's Friedman playing up in the corner? Oh my gosh, he's playing on the wing. Oh, this is not going to end well. And it didn't. It didn't. Eichel to the Avs, yeah. Well, I mean, Colorado could give them like Byram, Kadri, I guess. I mean, Kadri's not really the ideal guy when you don't have a center. You know, you're looking for a number one center. The good thing about that, as far as the rest of the league is concerned, is Colorado probably doesn't have the right pieces to make that trade. Because if they made that trade, it would be absolutely just stupid. Matthews to Caps for Obi, yeah, no. No, he's just saying he would like that to happen. Just like I would like, I would like a lot of things that I could imagine in my head. But they're just my imagination. And there's nothing wrong with imagination. Imagination is very important, but it is imagination. There's no chance that Toronto's going to make that trade ever in a million years. Nothing against Ovi, but you're talking about a young $10 million or young center that you're going to have for the next 7 years wrapped up, probably going to win MVP titles and rocket Richards for days for the next little while for an awesome but very on the decline Ovi, who, yeah, no, not going to happen. What do the Avs need? This second line center and maybe a true number one. But Grubauer's playing pretty darn good, but he's injured too often for me. Personally, I don't like to roll the dice on a goaltender when I got a team like that. I'd be putting Grubauer out there and seeing if I can get a true number one. Or as somebody mentioned here, get a like crazy 1B like Bernier, a late bloomer Bernier that stops everything too. That would be a nice play. And then at least you've got two guys. I don't know what you do with Francouz then, but apparently he's injured and stuff like that. You would have to probably use a player to get a player Bernier like that, and then a draft pick. But it can be done, and I have a feeling they will do that. But besides that, I mean, that team is when they're going against Vegas, and Vegas looks like they're barely keeping up. Like they're really having a difficult time finding spots against Colorado. Colorado is going to have to be really tired and or really unmotivated for some reason to lose too many games this year. Yeah, you are sure are a homer, aren't you? Go Caps. Grubauer or Anderson. Now, I don't think a 36-year-old Anderson is going to work. I think is he 38 or 39 now? I don't know how old he is. No, I don't think that one's going to fly. Anderson is like First of all, you'd have to at least give a first round pick on top of Anderson for that to even come close to being imaginable. Second of all, Colorado's not playing for draft picks right now, so not going to happen. No, it's the goaltenders out in the league that might fall off the tree. Caps need Palmieri. Yeah, I'm sure. A lot of teams would need Palmieri. I don't think New Jersey's going to give up on Palmieri, though. What the Lindy Ruff has come in there and changed the whole energy of that team. I still don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but you got to love the energy of that team now compared to what it was before. Let me go. 39, yeah. He's not going anywhere. Anderson's either retiring or, he's got a great opportunity that he didn't even see coming here. Anderson was there basically to get ice time was basically hoping he could beat out one of those kids. If he couldn't, he was kind of hoping that what happened. Apparently, Samsonov is going to be in that tonight. So that should be interesting. It's tonight, right? Is he playing tonight? Oh, I don't even have my score app up here now. Just looking up their score. Or is it tomorrow night? It's tomorrow night versus the Capitals, I think. Washington will be having Samsonov. As far as the more games yesterday, the center, they played yesterday. Yeah. They're playing tomorrow, and Samsonov should be in net. I guess we'll have to talk about the Ottawa-Montreal game. I watched that game, and I predicted Montreal would eke it out when I found out that Shabbat wasn't going to be. Otherwise, I was all over Ottawa yesterday until I found out that Shabbat wouldn't be playing. And well, I was wrong. I should have went with my gut and stuck with Ottawa. But Montreal on a back-to-back, there's something that's creeping into this team that's worrying me about Montreal. When adversity comes, they don't seem to be there. They played against Toronto. Toronto whooped their butt. Now you got an Ottawa team, and I know you're on a back-to-back, but there's many great, good teams, really good teams, cup teams can win their back-to-backs. And Montreal is not winning their back-to-backs right now. Against a team like Ottawa, they got pushed around. And yeah, Ottawa's a tough team. If you underrate Ottawa, they're going to beat you up. And that's pretty much what happened. At the end of the game, when they went into overtime, Montreal had no gas left. And honestly, I want to know why. Maybe they had a flight issue or something like that. But they were going up and basically just shooting in the offensive zone, which you don't want to do because if you don't score, you're giving up possession. You're going to lose in overtime doing that way. The Islanders do this too. And that's what they were doing. Is McCulley still? I don't know. You know what? I never pay attention to referees. Who's the referee? I know Frazier, a couple others, but I never do. It's maybe wrong, but I never pay attention to who's refereeing. But Montreal is scaring me. What I've seen from Montreal the last little while, they came out strong with a lot of energy. They had a new team, new hope, new everything. It was wonderful. It's like that first time relationship and everything's going wonderful. And then reality sets in and it's not new anymore. And now you got to get to the grind. Uh, they put a lot of energy out and they're riding a high. And then, just like a new car or a new relationship, then it starts not being new anymore, and they're getting used to each other and used to the fact that they're the same Montreal team basically, and you're seeing very little pushback. You're seeing a team that maybe takes teams for granted sometimes. Montreal is showing to be a team that is lacking character still. In a lot of ways. And the big guys that they brought in, like Anderson, Edmondson, they filled out their roster that looked good on paper. But I was concerned about how things were going to work out. I was concerned right away because they were going to have to gel or what have you. But as it turns out, they just seem to be riding a high that the organization brought in these players, and then once that high kind of went away, they sort of went, oh, what's going on? I guess that's. No. How many games do I think the Sens will win this year? I don't want to put a number on that because they're going to outwork teams. They're going to outwork teams. That's the problem. That's the thing with teams like Ottawa, that if you can outwork a team, you're going to win games that you don't look like you're going to on paper. It's really tough finding the spots. I should have had Ottawa yesterday. I'm kind of mad at myself. Montreal was on a back-to-back. I was leaning it, and then when they didn't have Shabbat, I was like, okay, Montreal should be able to expose that here, but they didn't. They didn't really pressure Ottawa anywhere near as much as you would think they would, especially when they have. And Montreal has speed. And what I'm seeing with them is they're not accurately using their speed to pressure the opposition in the offensive zone. And I don't know what it is. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know why they're not doing it. They were doing it right away, and then it's like they broke away from it. Maybe they started thinking they were good and they could start that they're not uber skilled, Montreal. If they're going to win, they actually got to play like Ottawa does. And maybe that's the point. Maybe the problem is that Montreal doesn't have the players that can keep up with that type of game every game. Saturday's, Caps versus Rangers. Rangers won that, right? And that was an afternoon game. And I'm pissed off. I'm really mad at myself from this weekend because I went against principles, and I don't know why, and I have to ask myself why I went against certain principles of those games. Washington Capitals don't like playing afternoon games. Afternoon games are an advantage for the road team. The Rangers just came off a fairly confidence-boosting win over Philadelphia, although honestly, they should have beat them more than that. And I think that's what kept me from taking the Rangers there, was they didn't beat Philadelphia the 2 days before very convincingly, and they should have, as you saw with Boston, what they did to Philadelphia, because Philadelphia, half their roster wasn't there. So I think that's what, hey CL, how you doing? I think that's what kept me from taking kept me from taking the Rangers there. But again, I probably should have faded it altogether because the Capitals don't do well on afternoon games. Yeah, it was worse in what way? Yeah, that's a weird situation. I suppose we should talk about that. I don't know what to say about that. That's the weirdest heck. That's weird. That is weird stuff right there. Apparently, he's saying, because the media is saying that he supports Putin. He doesn't support Putin, and he's vocal about it. And now Putin is trying to smear him and all of this stuff like that. So the one thing I can talk about it, at least give an opinion about it, I could be wrong about this, but I think the reason why he's not playing is not because of the rumors of something he did to the lady in 2011. I think it far more has to do with what him being concerned for his life. Like he really thinks that whatever's going on here, that he's got enough clout as a player to really build support for the opposition there. Well, that's what. Okay, so maybe you guys don't know what's going on here. This is coming from Russia. A KHL coach that doesn't have very much, let me say, apparently doesn't have a very good record or a very good reputation, who came out and said that he beat up some girl in 2011, and as far as the New York Rangers are blatantly coming out and say that it's all false, it's nonsense, and which for an organization to come out that quickly and say it's all false, it's all nonsense, that's pretty odd. Actually, an organization normally would at least take some time and make sure of something before they just came out and said, no, it's completely false. So then Panarin's basically saying that he's a supporter of the opposition in Russia and that all of this is being made up because of that, because he supports the opposition. This is Putin's way of punishing him for promoting the opposition. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. But it's a crazy situation. If that is the case, that is freaking wacko. I really have no idea what to do about that. Seriously, like, what do you do about that? You're hoping he's out till March 19th. I know that's a sad thing. It's a terrible situation. But then all the opposition teams are like kind of taking a sigh of relief. Let's face it. I'm a Philadelphia Flyers fan. But I don't want that to happen to a guy like that. He's huge for the league. It's kind of sad. If it's in fact happening this way, I wish him well, man. But it's weird. It's political. It's gotten political now. How does the league deal with this now? How does the league deal with this now? In this political situation? I mean, they're stuck in a situation where they probably don't want to get involved, but how do they not get involved? Like, sorry, I'm just, yeah, they probably don't want to get involved, but how do they not get involved? I have no idea. You'll have to check that up for me, buddy. I'm not a Phillies fan. I'm a Blue Jays fan. Since when does Russia care about women's rights? Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to speak into that, but it seems like it's pretty. I can't. I find it very highly unlikely that the New York Rangers would so quickly debunk this if there was anything to it at all. Because I mean, they could get themselves in a lot of hot water if there was any truth to it at all. And normally, an organization would step back and say, "We're going to look into this and do an investigation. We'll make sure, whatever, and we'll let you know when we have something like that." The New York Rangers just came out and said, "Nope, it's not happening," and that never happened. For sure, never happened, and all of that stuff like that. So I don't know. I know there's a lot of stuff that goes on about Russia that's not true too. So I'm not going to really speak into that, but I will say that I just find it very highly unlikely that I find it very. Oh, he's part of the KGB. I just find it very highly unlikely that the New York Rangers would so quickly debunk the rumors like that. What other games we got to talk about? Oh, the Jets versus the Canucks. This Canucks team is. I'm glad I'm not a Vancouver Canucks fan because I just supported them before the season started, and I'm already super frustrated with that team. If it's not one thing, it's another with that team. And Schultz, my gosh, the guy can't catch a break between throwing the puck in his own net or not picking up a man or coming back and getting a penalty that they don't need. Or, like, the guy's just having a horrible year. I kind of feel for the guy because I'm sure he's a good guy and all, but man, oh man, that is I've never seen a guy. Every time I watch a Vancouver game, something happens where it's like either a bonehead play or like it's actually almost more bad luck. Like he just has it goes in. Was it not Schultz, but Schmidt? Schmidt, not Schultz. Schmidt. Either he has a puck go off his stick and go in, or he's just every game there's something that happens and he's involved in it. Some unlucky play, and in some regards, like in some ways, just a bonehead play. It's really unbelievable to watch. He's just having terrible luck right now, and then I think that luck is snowballing, and he's second guessing himself, and he just looks terrible. The whole team in general is struggling hard right now. They did pick up a point last night, but really they had that Winnipeg team. They were playing super well. They were playing really good, and then the second period came, and they were back on their heels. Lack of confidence. They look totally in disarray right now, and I don't know what the answer is. My thinking, what I hear them talking about a lot is they had a young team. They lost some players like Tanev. Different, it's not really a different goaltender, but because Demko is still there, but Holtby came in, and they haven't really had much practice time for a young team. And I guess that's the same thing that's kind of going with the Rangers. It's more important for these young teams to have practice time. And I really should have thought about that before thinking of which teams are going to be successful this year. Most of the veteran teams are having success this year, except for Colorado again. But they've got a killer leader like Landeskog there. What's Vancouver's leadership really? They don't have like a killer leader in that room. And they're old guys like Erickson. He might as well not even be there. In fact, they'd be better off if he wasn't there. What did I think of Mike Richards as a player? I mean, before he got involved in the drugs and stuff, he was awesome. He had so much heart. He played with fearlessness. That would have been the word. And I guess before he even got to the point where he did with drugs and stuff like that, people were really already, saying, "Hey, buddy, you better settle out here." Like he used to party a lot. He's live, play hard, work hard type guy, and eventually it caught up with him. But are you talking about that Richards, or are you talking about the Richards that played for? I imagine you're probably talking about the one that played for Philadelphia, right? And again, when he got traded from Philadelphia, the underlying reason was his partying. He was going against Philadelphia Flyers standards and rules because of his partying and stuff like that. And he got traded away to LA, and he had one or two good years there, but never stopped, and it became too much of an issue. However, Carter, who was part of it, apparently turned around or went away from that and didn't follow the same path. But the Wizards better win tonight. Seems like NHL is a lot like the NBA, that it really. Well, no, they didn't play defense back then as much. Mostly because it was easier to score back then. Goaltenders didn't have the padding they have today. They weren't as athletic as they are today. So it was more prudent to pay attention to offense back then, because it was kind of easier to out offense the other team. Goaltenders getting so much better and much more better padding and much more athletic, and having much more analytics for them to be able to play the percentages a lot more, changed the whole game, and it became obvious that you were going to have to out defense another team. If you tried to out offense the other teams, and there was teams like the Oilers, that's the reason why the Oilers fell off. And they're still struggling today because they're still holding on to an old system of offensively beating another team. Now, fortunately for them, they got McDavid, and they still can find a way maybe to do that type of game a little bit. But they had to, everybody had to take it back a bit, because goaltenders were just too good to play that way. And if you could play defense to your goaltender's strengths and away from their weaknesses, it made it very hard to run and gun with other teams, and that's really what happened. Well, I thought Bonder was a great player, great shooter, one of the best shooters that ever played the game for sure. 30 to 40 goal guy. I'd have to look up his statistics, but he was pretty consistent. Wasn't a great defensive player, but you didn't have to be at that time. This is a really good example. He was more of the early 90s guy. But he had a killer shot. Killer shot. I have no idea. I didn't know he had a sprained ankle. They don't now. They don't now. What? They don't. They don't play offense like they did before. No, but I mean, you're starting to get teams that are able to play more aggressive offensively. Teams, because owners want their teams to play aggressive offensive hockey. Owners want the game to go towards the aggressive offensive hockey, because it's beautiful. It's what hockey really is all about, and it's what puts people in the seats. Back in the 90s, when they started making this turnaround, what happened was what killed the game for a while. I didn't kill the game, obviously the game's still here. But what made it less enjoyable to watch was when they brought in Anaheim, San Jose, and stuff like that. They weren't ready as talent pool to bring those guys in. So what Gary Bettman told the owners was, look, if you guys want this expansion money so bad, I don't think it's a good time to bring in an expansion team. We haven't expanded our talent pool enough to fill that. We're going to have to change the rules. And that's what they did. They don't play defense? Well, I don't agree with that. They play defense way more than they did in the 80s. Are you kidding me? Oh my gosh. They have much more defensive systems now. Look at the Islanders. Look at Columbus Blue Jackets. Look at Carolina, actually. Carolina is one of the most progressive defense to offensive teams we've seen in quite some time. I don't know. Jensen was a horrible pickup in signing. Sorry about that for Washington. My gosh. Teams now play well. They play well, much more defensive than they did in the 80s. I mean, Edmonton Oilers, Winnipeg Jets, Detroit Red Wings. They started bringing in the 90s more of a defensive game. Why were the totals less then? I don't know. I remember high-scoring games in the 80s. Very high-scoring games. Much more high-scoring games than they are today. We just started getting the numbers up with scoring, and that was mostly because of some of the rule changes they made. Remember, back then, you had a two-line pass. You weren't allowed to pass over two lines back then, like you are today. You can't do that long stretch pass before the blue line like you can now. They had the double line offside before. Two line offside. Now that was in the middle late 80s. I can't remember when they brought that rule in, but that was mostly the Oilers rule. That was mostly the Oilers rule. Because the Oilers were killing everybody. And then they changed it, and then they ended up changing back to bring offense back to the game again. Canucks got lost a lot in the 80s. They weren't very good. Yeah, they weren't very good. But most of the league were much more offensive. I'd have to look it up. But offensive numbers, you look up the stats, I'm sure the offensive numbers back then were higher. Now, there were some things that, players couldn't skate then like they do today. It wasn't as fast of a game. There was more fighting. It was more of a physical game. However, they didn't destroy each other, but it was a very physical game. Oh, yeah, okay. You're talking about the 2000s. That's a different story altogether. When you talk about the 2000s, yeah, you can have Mike Smith if you want. If you're talking about the 2000s, now you're talking about the late 90s, 2000 stuff. You're talking about the clutch and grab time. And again, I was getting to that. When they did the expansion, Bedman told the refs to start calling more holding, like not calling holding penalties and allowing more clutching and grabbing. And that was because those teams never would have made it. Anaheim, San Jose Sharks, Ottawa Senators, all of those teams like that, when they came in that expansion time, they never would have made it. They had nobody on their team. If they would have got destroyed if they would have kept it the way it was before. Remember to throw your likes out there, guys. It gets more people into the stream. Oh yeah, you can have Smith for Samsonov. No problems there. Anytime. I have a feeling they're going to say no to that. Yeah, back in the 2000s, that was a different thing altogether. I think you probably will, yeah. Lundqvist Lundqvist, I think, won't stop playing until like he absolutely can't. And I would say after heart surgery, that would be out. But I wouldn't put it past him to come back again. I wouldn't put it past him at all. I wanted to mention something now that you brought up the Rangers, by the way. I brought up a point that with Vancouver, the problems they were having in Vancouver, a lot of it had to do with the veteran leadership that Tanev brought. That I didn't realize the level that of leadership and veteranness that he brought to that team. He was loved in the room, I guess, and huge loved in the room. And he brought an energy to that place. But now, so I was actually talking about this with my wife, and my wife said, "Don't you think maybe Lundqvist leaving the Rangers had the same effect?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah, for sure." The Rangers, I mean, you think about it, that could have a big effect on what's going on for the Rangers there. Losing Lundqvist was just too much for them right now. He was huge in that room. Having the Panthers lose, they played 3 games in 4 nights. Tonight, they're going to be playing 5 games in 7 nights. What a weird game that is. Any team that's playing 3 games in 4 nights against a fresh team, I don't care what the other team is, that team has a chance. And the problem is this year, everything's been voodoo. There's been so many teams playing in 3 games in 4 nights. Now, there's not the travel situation. That's the thing. It's hard to gauge how tired a team is going to be. But Florida looked really tired there. They looked really tired in that game. I think as the season goes along, the 3 games in 4 nights are going to be more important because just the overall fatigue on a team is going to really cause problems. So but I think that had a lot to do with it. Also, didn't they have Bobrovsky in that? Oh, Florida, yeah. Didn't they have Bobrovsky in that? That was my concern about that game. Bobrovsky was in that. I could be wrong, or was it Drigger? I think Drigger's in tonight. So that's going to be weird, man. Tonight, Florida's playing 5 games in 7 nights. Dallas has not played for a week. So you've got a rusty team playing against what should be a tired team. Which one? I'm fading the game. I'm going to watch the game for my own head knowledge to know what's more important here. Florida's got a lot of heart. They had a bit of a day off to regroup after the Detroit game. I imagine they're going to be angry. I think that Florida's going to get ahead early and then hope they can hold on. I'm kind of leaning Florida there, but I really don't know. I really don't know. That's a very difficult. Verana, why would Verana retire? He's only 24. Anderson will retire for sure. So what do you think about that game, Jacket? I mean, I don't even, how do you bet that game? You can't. That's why on Jacket's one of my Patreon members. That's why I didn't put anything in for that game. I don't know. I don't know. Your best bet would probably be to PL the underdog, which I think is Dallas, and put it in a parlay if you want. But I mean, that game can go anywhere. Seriously, Dallas has been inconsistent this year. I'm leaning that Florida outworks Dallas and pulls it out. It's probably an under because, but I mean, even that, if Dallas can get their legs going in the third, I could see them coming back against a tired Florida team, a very difficult team. It's really tough. There's another one I'm fading. Isles or Buffalo. I honestly think Buffalo can pull that one out today. I'm not liking what I see from the Isles so far this year. Buffalo's energy against, was it New Jersey? Yeah, New Jersey on the road last time. I saw a positive looking Buffalo team. It looked like a team that said, you know what? Let's just play. Whatever happens, happens. They look loose. They look loose and not. I think finally, Ralph Kruger got through because I was really concerned about Hull going to Buffalo. Hull and Eichel are serious guys. They're very serious. They come to the ice serious. They want to win, but they create a poor energy almost in doing so. You don't have to come to the ice and have this look on your face like you're angry all the time. And it's possible that Ralph Kruger finally got through to these guys to say, why don't you just go out and have fun right now? Who cares about the winning part of it? We're probably not going to win unless we have fun. We're going to have fun, enjoy what we're doing, maybe try some things, use our talent to the best we possibly can, and let the outcome be the outcome. Because if we come to the ice every game just in this all serious mode, it's going to wear too much on us. I think possibly he might have got through to them, and I have a feeling that Buffalo's going to beat the Islanders tonight. I haven't seen enough consistency for me to pull the trigger on it, though. But I think if Buffalo wins tonight, it's really going to solidify that I'm leaning Buffalo a little more often. Caps want Sanford back again? Yeah, I imagine they do. You're all over the island. Aren't you an Islanders fan? Implicit hockey. If you're an Islanders fan, we'll talk some Islanders here. The Islanders don't look good, man. They lost their spiritual leader in Boychuk. They lost Taves, which was a huge loss to that defense. They got Mayfield playing a little too high in the lineup. Green is playing more than he probably should at this stage of his career. How are you talking to Go Caps? Go Caps likes to dream a lot of things, and I love it. It's fun, but it's not happening. There's no way that they're trading Samson back to Washington. I'm sure they would love him back. They would be great if they had him, but they weren't going to be able to afford him, so they had to let him go. So it's just really what it comes down to. I love him too. I think he's great. Caps get Sorokin. He's just pulling things out of his ass here. You're fourth best in shots against. Yeah, but they're getting more high quality shots. And their offense is poor. Their pushback isn't the same as they were before. I don't have faith in the Islanders like I've had in the past. This game, the under is 5. I probably am not going to touch it. They're going over a lot, which is not something that the Islanders do. I'm seeing cracks in their foundation right now. Now, it's Barry Trotz. I'm sure he'll try to figure out a way to get it back on track again. So if you're fourth in shots against, then apparently goaltending hasn't been good. However, Varlamov seems to be good. And look at the record for the Islanders; it's not good. But I like to be a Sabres GM. Now that you've got Beauvillier in, it's not bad. I'm not. I don't know what you're seeing, but I'm not seeing a great offensive team. I'm not seeing a team with a significant offense. Pajot playing with Komarov. I mean, Komarov should not be on anybody's team right now. Nobody shouldn't be playing. That third line is suspect. Yeah, I mean, Barry Trotz has proved me wrong before, but I haven't liked what I've seen from the Islanders so far this year. Varley's going to win the Vezina. We'll see, because Varlamov usually gets tired by the end of the year. If Sorokin can come in and put some meaningful stuff up, then he should. I think they should be playing Sorokin more. Yeah, he isn't now, thank God. But who is? I mean, who's playing on that third line? It's not. Let's go look at it. Let's look at the Islanders' third line and their defense. Chernak, Pajot, and Wallstrom as your third line. Most teams in the league are going to dominate that combination. Beauvillier, Nelson, and Bailey, okay. It's okay. Lee, Barzal, and Eberle. Eberle's playing better, shooting more this year. Good for him. It's not bad, but it's not great. It's not great. And, you have your fourth line, which is getting older now, that will always do well for you. It's down here. Like, Noah Dobson is playing fantastic for a 21-year-old kid. But he's playing probably more than he should. Green is definitely playing more than he should. Mayfield's playing way too high. It's mostly the defense that's the issue. Mostly the defense with the issue is with the issue. And I think they know that. You have a really good system there with an average team. And Trotz has got a great system there, but the team itself is average, I would say. Look at the number one lines in the league and compare them to the New York Islanders. Of great teams. Besides, okay, we'll take away the fact that Colorado and Boston, because they're like number 1 and 2. So your average number one line. You're going to take Aho and Svechnikov, and whoever's on their left there. Carolina's a good example. Let's just look in their division. Philadelphia Flyers. Depth chart. Am I going to take Van Riemsdyk, Couturier, and Farabee? And actually, Van Riemsdyk usually isn't even on the top. You can put Giroux. Am I going to take that over the Islanders' top line? Yes, I am. Let's go. What else we got? I was going to say Carolina. Carolina Hurricanes. Svechnikov, Aho, and either McGinn or Nichis. I'm taking their top line. Like, there's not many top lines I'm going to take from other instead of the Islanders' top line. I mean, other way around. Caps GM. It does matter about skill. I like Beauvillier. I really like Beauvillier a lot. I think that Beauvillier is a huge part of whether the Islanders make the playoffs this year or not. I think the Islanders are right on the bubble. It's going to be probably between Pittsburgh and the Islanders who makes the playoffs. Bruins have the best top line, besides maybe Colorado. Rantanen, McKinnon, or maybe now Toronto. Toronto's top line's pretty sick too. They would be up there in the top for sure. We'll see with the Islanders. I mean, Barry Trotz does wonderful things with teams. Okay, he can do a lot with teams. But I'm just seeing a team that isn't consistent like they were before. They were consistently playing the Islanders game all year last year. The Islanders were an under 5.5 team every single game, pretty much. They seldom allowed. I'm just seeing chinks in the armor with the Islanders this year. There's holes there that they're having a hard time working around. I don't know. You can make a case for both. Marchand, Pasternak, and Bergeron, or Landeskog, McKinnon, and Rantanen. You can make a case for both. Yeah. Yeah, it's a fantastic line. McKinnon is just better than all of them. Rantanen is not as good as Pasta. And Landeskog is a great two-way guy, too. It's just McKinnon is at a level so high that could make that line. Yeah, it's tough. The Flyers are going to come back. I don't think the Flyers are going to miss. I don't think the Devils are going to make it. I didn't pick the Pens to make it this year. I think it's going to be Bruins. I don't know what's going on with Washington. The East is really weird. Washington has character issues in the regular season. They're probably going to make it, but where? I had them number 1. On paper, Washington should be destroying everybody, honestly. As long as Samsonov is good, they should be destroying everybody. But they're not. And it just, when weird things happen that throw them off their routine, like day games or, they're a little tired. The thing about Washington, it just seems like if they're playing 5 games in 7 nights, Washington you can pretty much be assured they're going to lose that game no matter who they're playing against. Where you have a team like Toronto this year that they can play 5 games in 7 nights and destroy the opposition. So you guys, everybody put your predictions up here right now for the East if you want to. We'll talk about that. Bruins number 1. I never thought that they were going to be number 1. I'll be the first to admit that. They just keep on rolling though. They have a culture there, and that's it. The culture. The Islanders are building a culture. The thing is with the Islanders this year, I just see inconsistency that surprises me. And maybe they'll fix that. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that they lost Boychuk and Taves. And a lot of players have to work into their lineup. I also don't like their third line. Pajot's really what their whole third line is. The guy is doing everything for them now. The rest of the third line is not a third line. It's like a fourth line. And their fourth line is very good. People say it's the best fourth line in the league. I'm not so sure about that. It is huge for that team though. But I'm just seeing inconsistency there. Yeah, for sure. Matthews and McDavid are fighting for the Hart. I would really like to see Bergeron get his Hart this year, but probably won't. He'll probably never get one. What? By the way, this is E Money, Evan Sullivan. He does a show called Off on the Money. It's a podcast. It's pretty cool. You should check it out. What do you think of the character? Do you think Washington parties too much? Let's just get it out of there, right? Because we know about the partying after the playoffs. We know, and I love the fact that Obi likes to have fun and enjoy life and stuff like that. Do you think through the regular season that this has a part to play with some of their losses, like the one against the Rangers? Like when Washington plays an afternoon game, they're freaking done. They're horrible, and you know, it's consistent. And when they play like 3 games in 4 nights, especially when they have to travel a lot, they can't seem to fight through it. They can't seem to fight through their tired. Do you think that's what a problem with like they just enjoy life a lot and stuff like that, and it's just something you got to live with as through the regular season with Washington? Oh, for sure. Somebody said if Barry Trotz. Just imagine if Barry Trotz took on Buffalo. I would like to see how Barry Trotz would turn around a lot of teams. Here's a good example for the Islanders fan out there. Ralph Kruger, I think, is a great coach. Don't get me wrong. It's going to be it's, but is he Barry Trotz? No. If you take Ralph Kruger, put him on the island, and tell me the Islanders would be as good as they are right now. I don't think so. You take Barry Trotz, put him in Buffalo, and is Buffalo as good as the Islanders? Maybe. Maybe. I've said it before. I mean, Varlamov was in Colorado. Colorado let him go for good reason. His numbers in Colorado were not great. Now he goes to the Islanders, and then all of a sudden he's Vezina caliber goaltender. Really? Is that did Varlamov just become a great goaltender all of a sudden like that? Barry Trotz leaves Nashville, and Rene's numbers go downhill. He goes to Washington and hope he's a good goaltender again. Just a coincidence? Great coaches make goaltenders great. People say, show me a great coach and I'll show you a great goaltender. True. Show me a good coach and I'll show you a great goaltender. Show me a great coach and I'll show you a coach that makes goaltenders great. And Trotz does that. He makes goaltenders great. And I don't know how he does it. I don't know if he just knows if it's an emotional thing or I think Trotz just builds an energy in his team of belief. Like they just believe. And that might be it this year. I think there's a waning belief in the Islanders right now. Do I think Trotz will get it back on track? I would never put anything past Barry Trotz. Never in a million years. If anybody can do it, he can certainly do it. And it's not like they're totally off the rails. Like you said, they're still their shots against are still good. There's a lot of things about their game that are okay, but I don't see them all over the opposition like they have been in the past. Especially in the neutral zone, I see the opposition finding holes in the Islanders that I didn't see last year. So is that just because a player, you have different players playing in the lineup right now and it takes a little while to adjust? Probably. But I do see it. And I do think that Buffalo could beat the Islanders tonight. I'm not sold on it. I'm avoiding the game. I'm not touching it, but I could see it. And Buffalo will win and I'll be pissed. But I could see it. What else do we got? I'm missing. I'm going great, Avatar. Jeez, I just saw you there. Awesome. Thanks for coming in, buddy. We've been talking about the East a lot today, so like where put in where you think everybody based on what you've seen so far. I mean, Philly. It's hard to judge Philly because they haven't had a full roster yet this year. But Carter Hart is we're do we don't we really isn't that really the elephant in the room when it comes to the Philadelphia Flyers right now? It's that Carter Hart is really we have to finally admit it that he's not playing that great. Elliott seems to be the better player. I remember when Carter Hart lost his mind and he swung his stick at the post and broke his stick a couple weeks ago. I was like, what? Carter Hart's doing that? Like, I've watched that kid. He's in Sherwood Park here. He's from Sherwood Park here in Alberta. And, I mean, I watched that kid a lot because of that. I didn't watch him all the way up through his ranks or whatever like that, but I paid attention to him a lot. And junior and all of that. And the thing about Carter Hart was nothing rattled the kid. That was what was always so impressive about Carter Hart. And when he swung his stick and broke his stick over the post like that, I didn't know how to take it. I was like, what? Like, that's weird. I don't get it. I think there could be a growth thing going on with Carter Hart where he's starting to grapple with the idea of maybe not being as good as he ever thought he was, or maybe he's having confidence issues right now. The first time in his life, he's having confidence issues right now, I think. That's just my guess. I don't know for sure, but no, I don't think Buffalo's going to the playoffs. I do think that you're going to see them start playing a lot better than we've seen them though. In the near future. Buffalo, to me, if I'm Buffalo, if somebody said be general manager of Buffalo Sabres, if I was a general manager, okay, let's talk about Buffalo. Why not? Because we got the whole Eichel issue, right? How is there any truth to this? Eichel possibly being traded from Buffalo, and this is why I think Ralph Kruger got an opportunity here. Found an opportunity with all this Eichel trade stuff to loosen up the room. Because I think he basically came in and said, you know what, this is the NHL. And yeah, I mean, we're professionals and we're out there trying to win a game for sure, no doubt about it. And there's a level of seriousness that comes with that. But the truth of the matter is, if we are gripping our sticks tightly every night and we are putting so much pressure on ourselves to win that we end up not winning, which I think is what's been happening up to this point, things are going to happen like Eichel being traded or any of us being traded here. But let's remember what we're here for. Regardless of somebody getting traded or not getting traded or coaches being fired or whatever the case may be, we're here to have fun and play hockey, right? We're making a lot of money, playing a wonderful game, and we're very good at what we do. We're all skilled. You guys can win. You guys are great. You guys are wonderful. But why don't we go out and have fun and win at the same time? Can we not do that? Can we not do that? Do we have to hate to lose every game? That's kind of what Hall's personality is, and it seems like Eichel's personality is that they hate to lose. Do you know a guy going to tennis? I watch a lot of tennis, okay? I love tennis. And Djokovic once said, and I don't know if you know who Djokovic is, he's basically the best player in the world right now, said he doesn't hate to lose, he loves to win. There's a difference. And both of them can be motivating, but both of them can hurt you in some ways, especially when you're on a team. If you have too many guys that hate to lose, it can get really negative in an environment and a culture really quick. And I think Kruger's been trying to pound away at this idea that why don't we love to win more than we hate to lose for a while? Why don't we try it and just have fun? And if we lose, we'll figure out kind of that, but we're not going to stop having fun playing the game as we do it. And I just have a feeling that Ralph Kruger's got this through to them. After that win against New Jersey, I saw teams smiling while they were playing. And if that's the case, Buffalo could turn out to be a lot better than we think. Crappie Killer! I can't get you on Crappie Killer. You got to go through. I'm corporate now. I have a boss. If you want to come on Crappie Killer, by the way, Crappie Killer, he is awesome. He's from Carolina. He loves the Carolina Hurricane. And his name says it all. He has a YouTube channel where if you're into fishing, he fishes for crappie. And it's really great. You got to see it. He's fun. You got to go through some people right now to get on with me. But, I mean, I'd love to have you on sometime, Crappie. For sure. Message me on my last video I did, my picks video, and I'll tell you who to get a hold of. Or I'll get a hold of steelflyers.com, www.steelflyers.com. All Sports Network is what I go through now. It's a great website. Go check it out. It's growing and growing and growing. But yeah, www.steelflyers.com. Jacket will generally speak for the Sabres. What are you? I'm losing the conversation here. Jacket and Puck drops here is probably streaming at 10 tomorrow morning. Oh, cool. I'm going to be doing the show tomorrow morning. Hey, there you go. There you go, John. So, anyways, yeah, we're talking East mostly here. We're talking about Eichel. Yeah, could Eichel be traded? I'm actually getting to the point now, if they cannot start taking and enjoying the game and having fun playing hockey in Buffalo here soon, I think Eichel could be traded, yes. I think it might be the best thing for them. There are teams out there that you could pick a crap load. Somebody has mentioned Gravite. If you know Gravite, freaking awesome kid. Guy's got like bajillion followers and he deserves every one of them. Just like John the goat too here, John. Freaking amazing too. Check out his channel. Talked about the Rangers being maybe the number one person if Eichel was going to be traded. I don't know if Buffalo would want to keep him in the East. But when you look at what they have to offer, first of all, Zibanejad would probably be the top of the list. It does give them a questionable number one center. And then, you know, they've got all the Capo, Kako, Lafreniere. On defense, they've got Fox. I don't know if they want to trade any of those guys, but they've also got a lot of guys coming up. They've got next year's first. They've got the year after that's first. They've got Georgiev, maybe, if you really think he can be a number one. They could put a nice package together for Eichel there that could, you know, change the whole culture of your team. If I'm going to trade Eichel, I'm going to be looking towards character. Guys that can have fun but play hard at the same time. There's some guys like in LA, I like Velarde a lot. You know, Velarde, their first round draft pick next year. They have Boquist, the defenseman there. That's not his name. I'd have to look it up. But they've got a really solid defenseman there that I like. I could look it up right now. Quit being lazy. Look it up. Somebody could tell me there what his name is too. Too late now. I can't see you. So, LA Kings depth chart. Bjornfort. I love him, and they love him. But if they could get Eichel, they would definitely make a trade. Probably, like he would be available. So Bjornfort, Velarde, who was a high first-round pick. There's a package that could be done there. Kaliev. And now you start getting depth rather than one superstar. Maybe you sign Taylor Hall and you keep on flowing with more depth on your lineup, I suppose. But, I mean, Tobias Bjornfort, yeah, I love him. Love him. There's a lot of teams that would be interesting. Nashville would definitely be in on it. They'd be offering Johansson and a bunch of other guys, I'm sure. And I'm not saying it's weird to say that it's a good idea, but I really think there's an energy problem in Buffalo's room, and they've changed a lot of things. But, Eichel's been there the whole time. He's a superstar, though. How do you trade a superstar? What else do you do with that lineup? You're probably going to, if you're out of it, you trade Hall at the deadline, and maybe that was the point all along. But I'm hearing that they're trying to sign him. So if you sign him and you still got the slug Skinner there that's doing absolutely crap. In fact, I just read today that it's very likely that he's going to be scratched here right away. $9 million winger scratched. How's that fun for you? Yes, Seagrass is debuting tonight for the Ducks. What else do you do with that lineup? The only thing I was saying in the offseason that you got to get the best goaltender you can possibly get. I would be looking for trying to wrestle Kemper or Gibson or something like that from a guy that would be Fleury. Fleury would bring a sense of profession. He's the exact kind of energy I'm talking about. Fleury is friggin' nicest guy you ever want to meet. Comes to the room happy all the time. Has a smile on his face all the time. But when he gets in the rink, man, that guy is freaking all about, I'm not giving anybody this ice. I am going to be, he is insane that way. When he gets, his competitiveness is fantastic. Perfect guy that could help change the energy of that team and if not get rid of Eichel at the same time. If you could get him for a cheaper price or something like that, I think it'd be fantastic for that team. No, I don't know what you're going to do with Johansson. I don't know what Nashville's going to do. They came out strong against Columbus the last game that they won. And there's another one. I was on Nashville on that game until Merzlikins was in for Columbus. Merzlikins got hurt 3 minutes into the game and apparently was still hurt all through the game because he's out now. Tortorella was upset when he found out that Merzlikins played the whole game hurt. He hates that. He wants you to take care of yourself. And, you're not helping the team if you're hurt while you're playing. So they look like they had good energy. But the difference between that and Buffalo is they just took advantage of a team that really is having bad energy themselves. I want to see more of them than that. Johansson's hurt right now. But I agree with you. I don't see how anybody's taking that $8 million contract. He's a second-line center. And there's a lot of things that you want more from Johansson. Whenever you watch him play, he always leaves you asking for more. You always think you can get more out of that guy. And, of course, going back to Columbus, he played in Columbus. Tortorella, he was falling out of favor with Tortorella before he got traded. Kekalainen really did a good job of kind of deflecting that truth. And Poyle seemed to fall for it, gave him Jones for Johansson, and they're certainly wishing they never did that. Yeah, the untouchables on Nashville apparently is Ellis, Josie, and Rene. I don't. Rene is just simply because they probably promised him they would never trade him. He wants to retire in Nashville, so if he's untouchable, you can pretty much be assured he's never going to play anywhere else. He's going to retire in Nashville, and that'll be the end. That must be some sort of verbal agreement between the two of them that he would never get traded. Ellis, I don't understand Ellis. I like Ellis, but untouchable? There's lots of ways that I could see Ellis being traded. Who might even be a good move for them. Yeah, that you look it up. That was pretty much what they said that those three players were untouchable. If you go to my Facebook page, I'm pretty sure I posted an article of that on there. You can look Pearlo's NHL, my NHL Pearls of Wisdom on Facebook. I have a group there. You can go check it out. I post articles and stuff like that on interesting articles, and then my picks video. Maybe you see that, and make sure if you're there, if you haven't already, subscribe. That'd be great. That would be awesome. I'd love if you did that. Helps out a lot, as the GOAT says. Really appreciate it. Helps out the channel a lot, as he likes to say. So yeah, what we do with, I'm surprised Siegenthaler doesn't play more than he does. Actually, I like him. I think he's going to be a future possible top 4 in Nashville. How old is he? Isn't he? He's getting up there like 23, 24 now. I would have thought he would have been playing more minutes than he has already. But yeah, Ellis, Forsberg, I think that was a message to Forsberg that they want more from him. But what are you going to trade? Like, what's Nashville going to do? Okay, these guys are all untradeable. Does that mean you're rebuilding? I mean, does that mean because if you're going to trade Forsberg, what do you want in return? I would say Sharks. I don't know. They're pretty close. If the Sharks wanted to do a tear down rebuild, they've got Courtois, Meyer, Kane. Kane's tradable. Carlson's you cover half of Carlson's contract because you're rebuilding anyway, so you don't even need to care about the cap. But you're gonna have to that you'd be paying that forever and ever and ever, so it's pretty much untradeable. There's no way you're gonna buy out him. You'd have to trade him and hold back, say 4 or 5 million for the next 8 years. That's probably too much, or 6 years, something like that. So, and isn't he getting 11 and a half? Yeah, it's pretty much untradeable. That's really the difficult one there. Burns you could probably find a home for and cover a couple $2 million of his contract or something like that. But I find that Duchesne and Johansson, the way they're playing, very difficult contracts to move. Especially Duchesne, because this is a guy who basically gave up on a team with Colorado. Then he goes to Ottawa, and he's not willing to sign a long-term contract with them. I don't know what they were offering, but he's from the area, and he wouldn't sign a contract with them for whatever reason, I don't know. He goes to Columbus, he plays okay in the playoffs, and then goes to Nashville and basically is bunk. So who wants that player at $8 million a year? I don't know what they would have to do to get rid of a player like that. They probably would have to package him with Ekholm, maybe. Package him with Ekholm, because there's going to be a lot of teams that are going to want Ekholm. You'll get a decent player for a couple players for him. Caps or Sens? Well, when Caps have to rebuild, they probably will be in a bit of a mess, maybe. But, I mean, they're a few years away. The most untouchable, McDavid. McDavid or Matthews? McCarr. Nobody's touching McCarr. Crosby. Crosby is untouchable unless he wants to leave. That's probably. They might have to convince him to leave. Pittsburgh's a lot better this year than I thought they would be, and I should know that by now because they always are. They always find a way to be better than they look like they should be. He's 23. Oh, okay. Siegenthaler's 23. I like him as a defensive defenseman, but yeah, he doesn't provide much for offense at all. But he'll probably make it as a defensive defenseman for sure. I like his movement. He's big. He's mobile. He's just not great with the stick. But there's a lot of defensemen that aren't great with the stick that are in the league. Larson, Gudas, just off the top of my head. No, is Fucali good? No, he's not. He's horrible. I said the most untradeable player is probably McDavid. Like, are you talking about untrade by untradeable? Okay, not because of their contract. Skinner. Nobody's touching that shit. No one. You couldn't get rid of that contract to save your life. You'd have to staple Eichel to Skinner, and then what are they going to do? How are they going to pay both of them? Skinner's the most untradeable contract for sure. Erickson would be second probably. Carlson, third. All very close to third, the third spot. Carlson's contract pretty much untradeable. You would have to take something back, a bad contract back. Maybe you could get away with, like, what could you do? It'd have to be somebody who's got a really bad contract, needs defense, and, like, you'd have to send a bad contract back. Like, Okposo, no, I don't know. I don't know, it's pretty bad. Ovi would be tradable. If Cali had a good year in junior, in the World Juniors, and was a good junior goaltender, but he has not put it together at all ever since then. No, I don't think Carlson would not trade Skinner for Carlson. No. Nobody's going to take Zach Cali. I don't see how that Skinner contract could possibly be traded away. You could take at this moment. You could retain half the salary, and still nobody would want. Ovi's not going anywhere. If Ovi were to get traded, I'm pretty sure he'd go back to Russia. One assist, and when you watch him, he looks like he's whining. Now, here's the thing. Here's something else that just came out. Skinner's going to be it looks like he's going to be a healthy scratch. And they talked to him about it, and he said his words were something to the effect of, I've been in the league for 700 games. I've never had to go up in the stands to watch my game. You just put your head down and work hard, and you'll work through it. That's what he said. That's what his words were. And I was like, you are a freaking idiot that won't listen to anyone about anything. It's no wonder he won't listen to anyone. The Habs play the Sens again. I think the Habs will win that one against the Sens. They'll probably lose against the Jets right now. And then I don't know about the Sens game again. I'm really, like the Islanders, I'm having my suspicions about Montreal right now. Watching them play, they look like they're reverting to the old team that shoots from the perimeter and doesn't get into the spots they need to get into again. And that team is not going to win with that. They don't have the roster to play like Toronto does. They just no. Toronto can get away with it. Toronto can play a little more perimeter, get a little fancy, all of that. Montreal can't. They're not built for that. Montreal's got to beat you down, which was what I was worried about Montreal, is because in a condensed schedule, is this lineup going to hold up? And it's already it's only 17 games in the season. I don't know how many games they played. And it already looks like they're faltering a bit in that way. Now, they'll probably get some rest. They'll have some good games here and not there. But it's going to be difficult for them to be able to keep up playing like they did the first 17 games for the whole season. You're not getting any of those guys for sure. What are you talking about? Shiri would get you maybe a 5th round pick if you're lucky. Canes were trying to trade away Skinner long before they traded him. They couldn't get the value for them they wanted, and I'll tell you why. Because his agent kept on telling the other teams what he wanted for a contract. And they were like, no freaking way are we paying him that much money. So eventually, they just were happy they got something, whatever they got. The guy that they got, Pugh, he's played in the ECHL and was barely an AHL player. And I think did they get a 3rd or something like that? They were happy they got that. Why? Tatar is 10 times the player Shiri is. That's why. Shiri is a short spurts player that can play on your power play. He can't play a lot of minutes. You give him more than 10 minutes and you'll burn him out. He's too small. He's got a lot of heart. He's got a lot of guts to play in the league at his size the way he does, because when he goes on the ice, he gives it everything. Unlike Skinner, I would take Shiri over Skinner in a heartbeat. But for Tatar, no. Tatar is a strong, two-way, 30-goal guy that can score 30 goals, play on your top line, play on your second line, can do a lot of things, a lot of speed. Shiri's got a lot of speed too, but Tatar's got way more tools in the toolbox than Shiri does. And that's nothing against Shiri. Shiri gets out full value out of his talent and body for sure. He's a treat to have on your team. I would love if, there's lots of teams that could have used a guy like Shiri to show up and show everybody how to work on a team. Miles Wood in a second. I mean, that's fair value, I guess. But Wood is really a lot more of what Montreal already has. I think what Montreal needs is a top line scorer. If I'm gonna trade Tatar, I'm gonna package a first round pick or something like that, and I'm going for a big time scorer. I'm going for a shooter. They have Toffoli, but Toffoli's not going to keep that shooting percentage up. I can tell you that right now. Toffoli at the end of the year will probably be on what would be a 25 goal pace for an 82 game season. He does it all the time. He goes on a scoring spree, and then he dries up for a while. Then he goes on a scoring spree, and he dries up for a while. They need somebody that's more consistent shooter. And off the top of my head, I don't know who that is. Think about it for me. Lion. Well, I don't think you'd have to. I think you'd have to add to get the player that I'm thinking of, and I don't know who that player is off the top of my head. I think you'd have to add for Tatar. Otherwise, you just resign him because you're not going to get much different. Unless you want to get a different position for Tatar, you're not going to get much different of a player in return. Unless you want to get picks, a first round pick or something like that, and I don't see Montreal wanting that. Is there a concern that you're not going to protect him? Or he's going to walk? What's his contract like? Is he a free agent at the end of the year? If he's going to walk, you probably just keep him for this year and then try to replace him on the open market next year. Because you don't want to trade him away. You're in a playoff spot. You don't re-sign Danault. Danault's gone. I think Danault's gone. They just can't have him anymore. Danault's going to want more money than they're going to want to spend. Kotkaniemi's going to be taking the second line center role next year. Suzuki will be the first line center. Danault's not going to want third line center money. And there'll probably be a team out there that'll sign him. Montreal's going to lose players for nothing. Tatar and Danault. I think they could probably re-sign Tatar. Let's look at free agency and see what Montreal will do with their free agency next year. By the way, if anybody out there, I'll talk about any team you want to talk about. Tell me what you want to talk about. Any team you want to talk about. Anything that you want to talk about. News of the day, all that kind of stuff like that. Wow. There is nobody better than Tatar out on the market next year that I can see. Oh, that's all goaltenders. What am I doing? All positions. Taylor Hall. Nugent Hopkins, the Oilers will sign. Jaden Schwartz, St. Louis will sign for sure. They love him. Palmieri. Palmieri, maybe. Yeah, but they'll have to find a third line center somewhere else because Danault's not going to take third line center money. I can assure you that. He's not. He's not going to take $3.5 million a year. He's pretty much said as much. Danault thinks he's a second line center. Whether or not you think he is or not doesn't matter. He said it when Domi was trying to say, when there was like some competition between him and Domi, and they ended up trading Domi away. So he'll stay in Montreal if you pay him like Pajot type money, $5 million a year, maybe. But I have a feeling that there's going to be a team out there that sees him as a second line center. I don't know who that is. Nashville Predators, for instance. They got to sign KK. They got to sign. Where's Olsner playing? No, he's retired, I believe. I think he finally did retire. He didn't verbally retire, but I think he pretty much is retired now. They'll definitely sign KK to a bridge. Armia is going to be interesting. That's going to be an interesting contract. It depends on what he wants. Does he like it in Montreal? Does he want to play for $2 million a year or something like that? That's probably what they were going to offer him. If he thinks he can go somewhere else, he will. But my bet is that Danault is gone. I know that they would like to keep him, but I don't know. I wouldn't want to pay a guy $5 million a year to be my third line center like the Islanders did with Pajot. Just me. Unless he's going to be like, you're going to be completely stacked. And I think on the open market, he could get $5 million a year. Going by what he said in the offseason this year, where he said he believes he's a second line center and he wants to be a second line center, combine that with the fact that the stress of this new contract seems to be affecting him because he hasn't scored at all hardly this year. He's a fantastic defensive center, though. I just think the way the Montreal's salary structure is set up now with the acquisition of Anderson, I think they'll want to sign Tatar back unless they think they can get Palmieri or something like that. They'd rather sign Tatar back than have Danault back. It's just, that's the way they're going to have to look at it. Not to mention, you've got that kid coming up the ranks there in Montreal. We were just talking about him. Let's look at Montreal Canadiens. You got Jake Evans. He could play higher soon. That spot, he can take that spot for cheaper. You got, and Ryan Poehling. So you got Ryan Poehling and Jake Evans that can take that spot. Yeah, 0 goals for Danault. Anyways, I suppose I should look at tonight's games. Since that's kind of what we're supposed to be doing here. So let's look at tonight's games. Monday. Okay, I'm going to say a game and you guys tell me who you think's going to win. Panthers versus the Stars tonight. Now we'll see with Caulfield. I'm not as big of a Caulfield guy as a lot of people are, so we'll see what happens. But Dallas versus Florida, who wins? Help me out here because I don't know who wins that game. Wow, really? The problem I have with that game is the Panthers are on 5 games in 7 nights. They should be tired. Now it's been kind of voodoo, the way things are with these 5 games in nights because there's less travel. So let me see. What is there? I haven't put a pick in for Florida yet. Dallas hasn't played in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 nights. Florida's played 5 and 7, and they've been all on the road. And this is their first game home. I do not like that. But I don't like the fact that Dallas is going to be rusty either. I'm sort of leaning Dallas, but I don't know. 3-2 for. You think Stars win 3-2 in OT? That makes sense. Because Dallas will be rusty to begin with. Florida will play their butt off, and they're going to have to, in the beginning, knowing that they're going to fade at the end. Dallas could get their legs moving by the third and come back. That's what I think is going to happen. 5 games in 7 nights for any team is tough, especially when you're on the road that long. I think I'm going to put it in for Dallas ML. But the hard part about it is that Florida's been playing with so much heart, it's hard to root against them for any game. Yeah, I know. That's the part. Is Dallas will be rusty, but Florida should be very, very tired. It's a bad combination. It's going to be interesting to see which one is worse. I don't think he retires after this year. He has no reason to. The guy's playing 20, 25 minutes a night. I think he keeps on playing. I hope he keeps on playing. It's freaking awesome. I want him to play till he's 50. Okay, next game. We got to go over these. We probably won't get to all of them, but whatever. Next game. Where am I here? Okay. There's another one. Hurricanes versus the Lightning. The Hurricanes have played 4 games in 6 nights, or 5 games in 7 nights. Lightning should be fresh, but they're injured with Sorelli out. Hurricanes beat them last game pretty solidly. And the Hurricanes are putting Reimer in net, which is not good. I'm leaning Tampa Bay here. What do you think? Tampa Bay, Carolina tonight. What do you got? Jesse Pollock? I don't. Carolina, Tampa Bay. What do you got? Ooh, you're taking the over? 4-3 in OT. That makes sense. I was thinking more like 3-2 Tampa Bay that game. Lightning over the Canes, yeah. I was thinking 3-2. What do you got, Avatar? Throw me your pearls, buddy. Lightning 3-2. Okay. Shootout. It does kind of feel like a tie, doesn't it? If you're ever going to do a tie, that would seem like a one to do a tie. I'm all over the board on that, but I'm leaning the Lightning as well. Nice. Good. Make me feel better on that. Sabres Islanders. Sabres Islanders. Oh, Pearlo. Pearlo. Sabres Islanders. What do you got? I think the Sabres might win this one. I just got a gut on the Sabres here. Score? I don't know. 3-2 again? 3-2 is the most common. 3-1 Isles 3-2. Okay, I know why you take Isles. I don't know. I just have a funny feeling about the Sabres. The thing is though McCabe is hurt. McCabe is hurt again. That's going to be tough. I think the Sabres line up well with the Islanders. I haven't seen the Islanders game like I did last year yet. So yeah, Skinner looks from above. That's part of the reason why I think that the Sabres might win is that Skinner's not on the ice too. That's a pretty big thing. Addition by subtraction. Okay, let's go to the next game. Flames and Maple Leafs. Maple Leafs playing 5 games in 7 nights. Again. But it doesn't seem to matter with the Leafs. They can play every night, it seems. They don't slow down. Sooner or later, the schedule's got to kick their ass, but I don't know when it's going to happen. I'm taking the Leafs here, but I'm taking them in regulation because Calgary, there looks like something's wrong in that room in Calgary. It really does. It looks like I really like Jeff Ward as a coach, but there are things going on in that room that I don't think he can handle. Last 2 games were so similar. Buffalo, you mean? Leafs 3-2. Okay, what do you got, Avatar? Yeah, Matthew and Marner are on fire. 6-3, you say? Wow. The over. 5-1 Leafs. Avatar. They're going to slaughter the Flames. I could see it. The Leafs could slaughter any team anytime, except for maybe the Avalanche. I'd say it looks like it's heading for a Leafs Avalanche final this year. Looks like it. Okay. Kings versus Blues. LA Kings versus the Blues. You guys tell me and then I'll tell you. You guys are thinking about it, are you? Matthews 2 goals, yeah, probably. Guy's scoring like it's freaking like nuts. Okay, that's Avs over Vegas. Kings 4-2. Yes, I'm with you. Nice, you guys have the same as me. I'm all over the Kings. Sweet. I go to another game. Somebody, if you haven't did already. All of us are on the Kings. Look at that. Woo. I thought that was going to surprise you guys. Didn't surprise you at all. You are all over it as well. Golden Knights versus the Avalanche. Blues PL. Do you think Blues are going to slaughter the Kings? Oh, Jacket goes against the grain. Jacket goes against the grain. Vegas, really? I'm Avs all day. I'm Avs pretty much every time the Avs play. Honestly, I 4-3 Avs. Yeah, I had an over too. What about you, Jacket? Is Jacket still there? Yeah, I know redemption games, but I think it's pretty hard to redeem anything against Colorado. We'll see. It makes some sense. I could definitely see the Avs possibly taking it, but Avs. Okay, next one. Ducks versus the Coyotes. Ducks versus the Coyotes. Everybody's thinking, going through all their stats. Should have this already. Should have did your homework by now, boys and girls. You should have had it already figured out. See all over that. Ducks versus Coyotes. Ducks are out. Manson and Lindholm. Jackets. Yeah, I'm more on the Jacket side here with the Yotes. I know Zegras, but without Lindholm and Manson in the lineup for Anaheim, 3-2 Ducks. Wow. 2-1 OT Coyotes. That makes sense. The over-under on that is 5. So the Avatar's got the under to push Caps. Under Hockey News reports, but Ducks win. No, I just don't think that. I know Zegras is great, but it's his first game. I think it's going to be a harsh game for him. I just don't think Anaheim's defense, until they get at least Lindholm back, they're in trouble. So he could come in and be a spark and get everybody's legs moving, and Anaheim could surprise Arizona. But the problem is Arizona is such a hardworking team. Nothing really surprises Arizona. They may lose, but it's not. They don't lose because they're outworked ever. Gibson's in for Anaheim. Kemper in for Arizona. That's why the over/under is 5, I believe. And finally, the Wild versus the Sharks. Wild versus the Sharks. And then we got to head out of here. Gibson is expected. They still haven't. confirmed any goaltenders for that game? That's ridiculous. Sharks 4-2. Wild ML. I got Wild too. 5-2 Wild. Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at over there too, because they've been running with this Kakinen quite a bit. But I think Minnesota can outwork and outscore against San Jose. They've had that Malash guy playing 5-6 for a couple games now. He's not used to playing these kind of minutes. So my thinking is Minnesota. I agree, ML. Score? Score. 4-2. 4-2. That's my score. Mini 4-2. Well, boys and girls, that's my full 42%. Thank you for coming in today. And tomorrow I'm going to have Peyton on the radio on. So that'll be exciting to see. We are going, remember, tomorrow night I'm going to be live with John from Off the Wall Hockey, the GOAT, doing what is it, Washington, Pittsburgh, I believe. We'll be doing that. Off the Wall is going to be doing all kinds of stuff going on here. Thursday night or Wednesday night, Joe does his live show at 8 o'clock at night, I believe now. And there's a guy named, do you guys know who Jim Jackson is? Anybody out there know who Jim Jackson is? Tomorrow night? Tomorrow night when the game is, that's 5 o'clock Mountain Time, 7 o'clock Eastern. Do you guys know who Jim Jackson is before I go? Just, if you probably, maybe you do, maybe you don't. I'll just tell you because I got to get going. He is the announcer for the Philadelphia Flyers for NBC. We're going to be doing projects with Jim Jackson. He's the voice of the Philadelphia Flyers for NBC. He's joining with us on this network. We're going to be doing videos with him. We're going to be doing lives with him and all kinds of stuff like that. So should be fun. Yeah, Philadelphia Flyers, voice of the Philadelphia Flyers, Jim Jackson. Look him up. He's going to be on. He does play-by-play for the Philadelphia Flyers. He's joining our Steel Flyers All Sports Network. Yeah, pretty cool. And he's going to be on with us. So, am I missing anything? Yeah, that's it. Tomorrow, same time, same place. Same time, same place. Here, doing a live. Peyton on the radio will be on tomorrow. Maybe other people. People can jump on whenever they want. Have a great day, everybody. Lots of love to you. Okay. Bye.